Welcome back to the North American LCS. You're getting a look at Team Impulse just a couple minutes ago discussing strategy in preparation for our second match against Gravity. Team Impulse off to a strong start in Game 1 after getting first blooded. So that's the first thing I want to talk about. You know, immediately when that first blood happened, very early into the game, it kind of tipped the scales in Gravity's favor. We were saying, okay, maybe Gravity can walk away with this one. But Impulse played calm and cool under pressure there, secured early kills in their other two lanes, and rolled that into a very quick 25-minute victory.
Right, so Gravity got the first blood, but that kill did not convert into anything at all. The duo lane was still farming fine on the side of Impulse, and Nautilus was still having a lot of impact on the map. Conversely, you know, Impulse gets a kill on the bottom lane. Hecarim just starts going off, TP's mid, gets a kill, kills his lane again, kills the jungler, and then that one kill by Impulse just ended up converting into a lot more than that one kill by Gravity.
So I want to look on the side of Gravity and see what we can come up with in terms of adjustments for them to make. And initially I want to start with the fact that they drafted a team comp that seemed to revolve mostly around team fighting. You have Orianna, strong team fighter, Maokai, strong team fighter, Kalista, some sustained damage. And they had a couple decent fights if they were even in gold, but being down 7K, there was just no way they could win them. So do we want to see Gravity draft the same kind of team comp, as they clearly can play it properly? Or would we rather see them go with something more aggressive, as they're sending their solo laners in, to make plays left and right?
I think that the draft is fine, and overall I think it doesn't matter what you draft. If your top laner goes for solo kill, it's just I don't want to be harsh, but you're not really playing a solo queue right now. You're playing a team game, and if you don't have the follow-up of your jungler, be prepared for enemy jungler to build there and kill you. So maybe there was a strategy that Hecarim was there low HP to just bait you into Lee Sin, and your Rek'Sai wasn't even around. So, and as Maokai, you can't escape the Lee Sin when you're that deep inside. So, and basically it could be other way around. If the Rek'Sai just came to the Maokai, it's pretty easy kill on Hecarim because he got no flash, obviously.
So there's a bit of a breakdown in communication then between the laners and St. Vicious, needing to have a presence in the lane when they want to make a solo play versus farming in the jungle.
Yeah, I think that it was really miscommunication because after he got the kill on their bot lane, I would say, that is of course stopped this game, they could have tried to snowball it out and just keep camping that lane, because I think they use summoners and everything. So other lanes should have just played accordingly. For example, mid lane could still play aggressive because it's mid top, but then Maokai should have played passive. And even though Hecarim is farming, it's fine. Just the only thing you shouldn't do in that lane, 100%, you shouldn't give the kills. And that is what snowballed the game super hard. Because if Maokai just, for example, okay, he pushed the lane out, he recalled, just came back keeping his teleport and buying some wards, he would be super safe, and then he could do TP play himself, and then if Hecarim TPs, for example, mid for the kill, he can be there, and they can snowball top pretty hard because they got the kill there already and got summoners. So that is really strange.
All right, lastly, I want to look at, kind of on that topic of St. Vicious, is he pulled out the Rek'Sai after having the Nunu and Sejuani banned away from him, which are two of his favorite tanks in this meta. Pobelter, who does he go to if not Rek'Sai if the bans continue to fall the way they do?
Right, so his favorite champions are Sejuani and Nunu, I think. Sejuani will probably be permabanned throughout this entire series, and I think Impulse might keep up the Nunu bans maybe. So in terms of junglers that I think Saint would perform better on than Rek'Sai, I think maybe Jarvan or...
Vi's available. And she's a decent, right? We do know that Rush is a fan of Vi as well, so it's somewhat of a pick against them. But we also know Vi as being somewhat of a tank buster. And when we have Rush playing things like Lee Sin, I guess she loses a little bit of her value in that regard.
I just think that Gravity needs to be more on the same page this game. Last game, it was the laners were playing aggressively, but the jungler was playing passively after the first blood, so the laners got punished for it. So they need to decide on one thing. Are the laners going to play aggressively with the jungler backing them up like Impulse was doing? Or are they just going to play safe, take the first dragon like Saint did, and then just wait for a good team fight in the mid game?
All right, well, there you have it. Let's see if we can make those adjustments going into Game 2. As we send it over to our casters, Gravity had a rough start to the series, but St. Vicious is confident that they can check Rush's jungle aggression.
I like our playstyle against theirs. It's mainly just Rush picks one lane and he just camps the living crap out of it, and he tries to do random things in between then. So if I just like match him in that, or if I like go gank another lane. Like let's say he's camping bottom, you just camp top and like trade off. Like it's a matter of just matching his pressure. He's a very gank-oriented jungler, and I feel like if he doesn't get those ganks off, then it really falls apart for him.
And I think that's a lack of what we saw last game is matching that pressure. There was the first one, and I think Gravity had that on their plate. It's well. They executed it. They got that kill, but I think they said, we'll wing it after that. We have that kill. We'll work with the pressure, and it wasn't enough.
Yeah, you heard Alex Itch talk about sort of Hanser needs to just play back, not get killed, don't go aggressive when you're, when your jungler's not there, right? And Hanser made that fatal mistake. We actually saw Saint can't do the lane. He got first blood to his dual lane. He could have probably showed back up once they realized Sivir had no flash anymore. Like that's a pretty easy champion to kill. But unfortunately, they didn't track Lee Sin very well, and they didn't repeat gank the top lane, which was a point of power.
So I was looking at the pick and ban from last game and thinking what would change, and I thought the only thing Gravity would drop would be the Twisted Fate ban.
Because
that first ban
that doesn't fit as much. This is the same level of perplexing to me as CLG's permaban of Morgana yesterday. It's a champion that wasn't huge in the regular season. The player doesn't spam on their main solo queue account. And it must be some type of intel in scrims that we don't know about that they're just fearful of, something they've been practicing lately. But it hasn't been proven on the stage yet. I'm a little bit surprised we didn't see a heavily targeted rush.
Ever had your soul shackled, Jat?
By Morgana. What about Twisted Fate?
It's a terrifying thing.
Totally different pick.
But no, you make a good point there. It seems to be a crutch in the games yesterday, and not even seeing her here today. Lee Sin now banned, Urgot as well in that Sejuani. We were looking at that to be what Gravity has used to really get that surge in the end of the year, those tanks.
Yeah, I like that they were able to first pick away the Rumble, though. It's something Hanser can have a team fight impact on almost regardless of how his laning phase goes. And it's something that was actually banned last game.
Yeah.
So
instead of banning it, they first pick it. They're still afraid of Impact getting the champion. They're still afraid of Xiao getting his playmaking mid laners, I guess, and they're happy with him playing anything else. Impulse can say, what do they really care about here? What contested picks were actually important? Looks like the Vladimir is still important for Xiao, and the Sivir is still important for Apollo here.
I'm just very confused. Like, very, very confused. A lot of times in best of fives, the most effective strategy is to ban away the things that beat you that game. But they send a ban onto Xiao's Yasuo and do not deny the Vladimir from the last game. I'm perplexed. I want to see what they pick in mid lane. If Keen has a pick in mind that is really bad against Yasuo, like Cho'Gath or something, then maybe they decide to do that. But that's it.
Yeah, that's kind of it. I want to see what the actual choice ends up being here. Impulse clearly you can kind of see in their picks, right? The early Sivir reliance, right? The utility AD carry. They want to probably keep camping Impact and maybe even Xiao and say Apollo and Adrian just float through the laning phase. You'll provide utility and team fights overall. Ignore you guys. Keep going well for Impact. They know this Rumble is going somewhere, by the way. We've seen it played mid as well as top, so that becomes a little bit awkward for Impulse.
Yeah, Keen.
They got to show something.
Keen has taken that mid. Vladimir can also go either side as well. That makes things a little weird here for Team Impulse if they decide to do that. The Morgana is floating around now. Impact very vocal about this pickup.
So it's something they could play.
Selection.
It's something they could play top if they wanted to.
Right.
Could do
it's something
this
he did play top.
And Leona if they wanted to stack crowd control. And it also picks away one of the Leona counters in lane.
Yeah.
Plus one of Bunny Fufu's better champions. Impulse has a lot of options here.
All right, and the Vi is the option here. Lee Sin banned away, goes for number 2 most played. Vi,
someone's getting picked off.
Yeah, hasn't lost with it yet. Gravity, St. Vicious still rushes the Rek'Sai pick, but it does not seem to hold down Rush whatsoever.
Yeah. Impulse looking like they're getting what they want, and it's on Gravity to build in either the adequate amount of early game pressure or the adequate amount of late game power that they can withstand an early game threat with.
Well, still seeing smiles on the face of Comp and Bunny. We know that to be a very happy environment to be playing in for those guys this year, and they always seem to have good confidence going into games. So they should be too perturbed, too set back by that first game. And it looks like we will get the lock-in of the Fizz and a Janna to round out Gravity's composition.
This is weird to me because Impulse, Vlad could be mid or top, Morgana could be mid, top, or support. We don't know where any of these champions are going.
Everything flexes.
And okay, guys, it's going to be Fizz somewhere.
Yep.
And Rumble some. I guess they can swap back and forth.
They can. Keen's played both of those. He played Rumble mid, Rumble mid and Fizz mid.
Yep.
The really weird Fizz game he did, Frozen Heart Abyssal Scepter.
Just recently.
In a win, it was one of the Bruiser team compositions they put together.
Yep.
And Gravity has another Bruiser team composition right here, which arguable about how good that will be against Vladimir and Sivir and Morgan Vi.
Yeah, maybe you could just AoE down this entire team comp. I'm also not sure what Jan is supposed to do, because you're not really needing to peel for Lucian. He's already pretty self-sufficient here anyway. Very confused with what Gravity's doing. Hopefully there is a real plan here in motion, though. Team Impulse hovering real support picks here, so it looks like that will be the top Morgana after all, I'm guessing.
Or mid. Like, everything can flex, but based on last game, I think you'd be absolutely right about that.
It's like we're watching both of these teams because the bands go just play on 5.5 right now.
Yeah. Or even earlier. Yeah, well, Impulse playing the same comp they did last time. Right. Okay, Leon's not banned. Pick that instead. We don't get Rumble, so pick another team fight top lane or whatever. Play Morgana. She's got good follow-up too, right? They're pretty much replacing as few parts as possible and still picking. Let's go in and start team fights, and we've got lockdown to support that and follow-up damage afterwards.
Very, very nice. 20 seconds on the clock is the last chance for switches. Here you'd see on the screen, obviously. Boom, boom. Those are the selections for both teams. And right now, Gravity is looking for a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel here. A very strong game from Team Impulse to start this one off. Even after being first blooded, it did not set them back. They had no trouble continuing their strategy.
Yeah, Impulse feel really good. Gravity, I just need to see what they want to do with this one. I have a hard time finding a good thread to follow with this team composition. It's a bunch of individually fairly strong champions, but the overall goal of the group of 5, I'm unsure about.
Well, St. Fish is back onto Rek'Sai. He'll have a lot of mobility, hopefully around the jungle for a few more than First Blood ganks. Remember to keep your updating your votes for which team will be advancing to the semifinals. Tweet at LOL Esports, either hashtag GVWin or hashtag TIPWin. We'll update those throughout the game.
All right, it's going to be really interesting. Of course, Gravity, they've got a lot of variety available to them, right? Where they're back to the mid lane Fizz. Pobalter again said there'd be nothing new under the sun for these guys.
That's their kind of ace up their sleeve.
Yeah, well, they're going to definitely try something new again in this one. Gravity hoping to adapt well in game 2 and pull it back in the best of 5.
Yeah, we have to watch to see how Gravity adapts to this. I mean, we know Keen is playing a lot of weird stuff. The Fizz mid is something no one else really plays here. Now it's up against a Vladimir. They could have guessed that Vladimir is going mid here.
All right, so talking with Cop, he says their deep champion pools will give them an advantage in this best-of-5 situation. Let's listen to him.
I think best of 5s will be good for us just because Keen plays so many different champions. I think we'll just have like a new champion for every game, and we'll have a lot of random strategies that we can use towards them.
And executing that.
Yeah.
Random strategies is one thing. I wonder whether that random factor is enough to catch Team Impulse off guard, because Impulse isn't really a team that relies on what the other team is doing to pull off their stuff. They have one way of playing. They generally have a tier list-ish of champions right here. Right now they have the Leona for Adrian, which is huge. Plus they denied the Morgana. Very strong lanes to back up Rush's aggressive style. And you actually don't, in my opinion, you don't need a random team comp to counter that. You need a very measured team comp to counter that because it's a specific style that is predictable.
Yeah. It's one thing I always think about a little bit with sort of team compositions in League is, can you just enforce your own will? Right now, enforcing the invade
That's
and the
how good you are.
buff. Uh-oh, can they surround? This one, Hanson's around. Howling Gale hits Adrian, flashes away. Stop the Grom, get a flash.
Yeah, it stops the early Gromp kill from Apollo and Adrian, but it does not set back Rush. I think that would have been the ideal thing if they somehow could have caught Rush there in the jungle. Rush will set himself back a little bit by missing his vault breaker.
Yeah, he missed a lot of damage.
I think he'll be fine though. St. Fitch is starting with a counter jungle strat.
Yeah. The immediate TP from Hanser, slightly late to lane, but won't miss too much, and he's going to be 1v1ing up against Impact in the Rumble versus Morgana lane. Keen actually already feeling good against Xiao, E, and W. And until Vlad gets more levels, that sustain is not going to be very good.
if we even think back to last game, Xiao Xiao's early laning phase was pretty rough against Orianna. If not for the home guarding teleport Hecarim coming mid lane to save him.
And then Orianna not getting blue.
Yeah, he would have lost that game. A couple of things went against him, against Keen in that matchup.
Right.
Again, Xiao Xiao is going to have to withstand this early pressure from Fiss.
All right, St. Vicious, he got the scuttler. Maybe he's going to gank bottom lane, but, you know, they're pushing their turrets. Nothing to be done right here, but just going to farm here for now. Rush makes his way into the mid lane, already trinketed though, and Keen could feel pretty safe.
This is the question. Does Rush zip over and go for a pretty late blue buff invade? Because he would have to wonder if Saint would run all the way over, but basically Saint's respecting Rush enough to think that the blue buff would be gone by the time he's got there, and it's not even a counter jungle at all that Saint really pulled off there by invading the enemy jungle, because now they're ending up conceding this away, not wanting to pull pressure away from the lanes.
He likes a bit of square off as though we were in a lane swap. Both junglers pick a side of the jungle to go through. Rush leaves up part of the blue buff though, so this will not respawn, of course.
It's really interesting actually, because this would have been a very stoppable counter jungle of Rush if Gravity's top laner had pressure. If Rumble was shoved up onto Morgana, it's very easy for him to collapse down into the blue buff and stop that up. But because Rush and Impact have so much trust in each other, and this is one of the reasons they're so good together, they can pull off stuff like this. But Rush gets a little greedy. Hunter could have easily gone down to the Grom.
Yeah, man.
He's not even thinking about that, though. This is... Oof, that would have been such a great move by Hanzo.
Close, if only kind of
Too
situation.
worried about falling behind in lane.
Yeah.
He is, and of course at the same time, there was a nice ward by Rush there on the Wolves to make sure if Saint ever did show, he'd know about it. Simple Vault Breaker out, but you're right, all said and done, Rush getting away with essentially murder here on the entire Western jungle. Cleared all the camps away, left a piece of the Wolves, left a piece of the blue buff. And Saint's going to be pretty sad in a second clear, which is starting right now.
And now Saint's behind. It's another one of these examples, but in a smaller scale of what happened in Game 1, where St. Vicious does the first good thing, and then Rush does the second better thing, and it impacts Impulse in the right way.
Got to have more on your plate than just that first one, or know that you're going to have to react to what the enemy's going to be doing. It's something they seem to not be taking into consideration. He came out, he did red all the way around, and now he's going back. He just did like 3 camps, and now he's back again.
Yeah, he recalled, got 40 gold, and is recalling again. He can clear the Raptors, and then there's not much left for the man to do.
Rough.
Rush just scaling up really hard. He's not looking for the early ganks right now. He's just holding Saint down, making his life miserable. He's level 5, but hasn't even recalled yet.
Nope.
That's one way to do a level 6 Rush. Vi wants to do that all the time. He wants to get level 6 as quickly as possible, which Rush has been able to do fairly well. Sometimes you can have pre-level 6 impact, but pre-level 6, Vi versus Rek'Sai, Rek'Sai crushes that matchup. So the more Rush can just avoid him and farm his jungle, the better.
So far, pretty good thing for Rush. 5.5, and life is good. Mid lane matchup actually squaring off close to equal. The top lane battle also, again, pretty matched. Hauntzer and Impact. Impact gets the first recall. Hauntzer equalizes the minion kills off of that. And the bot lane also pretty close to even. So looks like as far as laning phase is concerned, it'll be the junglers that make a difference.
Yeah.
Rush a little bit of swagger as he tries to take down the Grom. Pretty aggressive by Keen. He's out of mana though. He's got to be careful how close he goes.
Ouch, two turret shots for that.
But he burned both summoners from Xiao Xiao right there before Xiao Xiao could get spell vamp. If it was not for those 2 turret shots, that would have been absolutely worth. There we go though, health potions and regen. Maybe they get a return. He has no summoners.
No summoners, the flash knockup.
The flash in from both of them as well. All the summoners being used for this one. It's going to be worth on that one.
And this is a good match to get first blood in as well. Keen can definitely snowball this one and really bully Xiao Xiao out. When Ignite's back up in 3 minutes, he can again just remove all the healing from Vladimir. But
Ooh.
hey, no, don't do it.
He rushed a Brutalizer. He didn't build his jungle upgrade. I've never seen that in a pro match of this magnitude on Vi. The jungle upgrade is so good on Vi. He won't be able to jungle without losing health. He's basically saying he's going to fight someone immediately with this Brutalizer, getting as many combat stats as possible. There he goes. He's going into the end.
He's base level 6, and St. Vicious, by the way, that Wolf Spirit is a lifesaver. He's going to tunnel away from his own jungle.
Literally.
Get Wisp, bro.
Yeah. He should get level 6 off this Grom.
Yep. Smite is up too. What else to use it on except for jungle camps? He can get right in behind Hauntzer. And they should know that Rush is 5 and in this jungle. Hauntzer should know.
Wisp is falling
especially with the Wisp. All right, Hauntzer knows about it. Rush leaves the jungle. Wisp dies. Again, Keen playing as aggro as possible, but you can see Xiao Xiao.
Keen used his Playful Trickster. He won't have it up if Rush goes right away.
Flashes, ults, Keen is going to get caught. The jump is up pretty soon, but is it going to be in time? It's not. Kill goes.
Didn't we just say that the wisp was on him when he hit 6, so
Yeah.
they saw him?
Yeah, we did. Gravity not paying attention to the whole picture. They're tunneling in on certain things right here. Keen using his playful tricks to save it. They know that Rush, if they're looking at the whole picture, they'll see he has a brutalizer, can't stay in the jungle, can only go and fight.
Right.
He does just that.
Jet, you're on fire with your references today, but here we go. Impulse.
I'm not even trying.
Yeah, it's
That's
great,
that's
but
the
it's
thing.
so
That's what they
fun
work.
watching you do this. St. Vicious wanted to stop the Dragon attempt, and he said Rush can't jungle. He certainly can't do this one, but they're still fighting for St. Vicious. That's to tunnel away. More health being lost. Saint without flash and his E on cooldown cannot stop this Dragon.
These instances of Rush just being able to walk around and still have the team have the upper hand in a fight. He has 400 HP, means Impulse is really on their way to just get the same result they did last game.
Yeah, it looks a little bit slower than last time. These matchups
Oh, yeah.
a bit
Yep.
closer here. Rush. Oh!
That's a little greedy.
Rush!
A little greedy.
Rush!
He's got it.
The shield! Wow. All right, all right.
Even jungle camps are entertaining when Rush is in the game.
Uh-oh.
Oh, God.
Gonna duck on that one. Adrian misses, and St. Vicious is just off missing on popping her up. So Adrian gets out on Leona. Apollo's safe as well as these guys just farm it out. CS on the lanes. It's really only 10 CS lead if it's to either way right now. Very close in gold, very close in those kills.
Oh, took that one too deep.
Yeah, a little bit of a late Q by
Uh-oh.
Bunny Foo, but all the same, they can push. Yeah, there's no kill pressure. There's a minion wave there, but an earlier Q by Bunny would have actually gotten him another 100-something damage under the turret. Either way, Hanser's starting to get zoned out by Impact. The longer lane with the lead, Impact able to play a ranged champion and say, I dare you to CS here or I'll bind you.
Yeah, we haven't been up top too much this game. He's actually spreading that lead pretty good now in CS, a little bit more than that 10 factor that we see in most of the lanes.
Yeah.
And he's able to do that. Like we said, not as many tanks in this game, brings back the Morgana out, worked really well for him in the middle of the split.
Yeah, crucially, Hanser didn't complete an item on his first recall. He got boots and part of a Haunting Guise, not a finished Sork Shoes, not a finished Haunting Guise either. So his actual pressure in the lane's pretty darned low. Impact can do whatever he wants. Rush can try again for the top lane, Wolf Spirit or not.
I mean, this time he's getting a little bit too greedy. He may be trapped up here.
Q's down for 2 more seconds. Rush does not have flash. Can they make it happen? They just go right into St. Vicious.
Are you kidding me?
Impact comes in, they get the kill all the same. Rush will trade, but here comes Keen, forcing Impact to run away.
Double buffs onto Keen as well after that fight, so it is worth at the end of the day, I think. St. Vicious is critically changing the things he is smiting in this game. He keeps smiting the Aether Wisp because he knows that Rush is going to continually counter jungle. That is the type of counterplay you need to have against someone with such an aggressive style. Normally the smite targets are Raptors for the vision, and in this case Gromp because it does so much damage on him, stacking people. But fighter junglers, vision control, counter jungling, good smites.
Saint looks for more right here.
Oh my
Keen's
gosh.
there to help. A Show's around. It's a 3-on-2 all the same. Engage comes in, slows down a few, but Adrian will still be the kill. And you can see, starting the beginnings of over-aggression from Impulse. Rush burned his Q to go through a Wolf Spirit and get caught out. Adrian on kind of the wrong side of the map on this one. They felt like the same plan would be working, but Gravity responding to it so much better here.
Quite impressive by Saint as well. Rek'Sai in the first game, quite lackluster, and he completely turns a leaf over coming into this game. 0-1-3, 100% kill participation around the board right now, and Keen starting to get a bit bigger. Rush again, this top side of the map here. He's trying to call it home.
Yeah,
Yes, the blue buff timer.
This is a fascinating game. Keen is starting to take over a little bit on Fizz. We saw that with the early gank. We talk so much about Rush, but that's because the game is generally about him when he's in it. He creates and forces so much pressure.
Right.
Gravity collapsed on him very well to get the double buffs off, and they're punishing Xiao's early laning phase on Vladimir. We'll see how Keen can transition this, though, because Fizz is not the hyper carry he used to be. The Abyssal Scepter, he doesn't have the same AP ratios he used to have. If he goes tank after this, I wonder what its effectiveness will be. And will Rush continue to just try and kill Hanser? I think so. I think that's safe to say. Maybe a counter, though, if Rek'Sai's there in time.
They know she was around. Okay, let's go to here. There's the dive. Eagleser comes in, but the bind's already there. The stun's going to land as well. There's no way out for Hanser.
Team's coming up.
But Rush is very low.
Rush is dead.
No flash. No way out. Fizz coming around. Janna as well to lock down. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, there you go. Now on the top side though, Impact lands a bind, gets hit by the Shark though, and the Black Shield might not be enough to keep him alive. Bunny Foo is staying in the front if he needs to ult him backwards. The flash in, the Ignite's going to be enough though. Kill comes through to Keen.
That was
Fine or
nice,
not.
but one was nicer.
Impact is becoming predictable, but they are still maintaining pressure. This is such a better game than the first one because Gravity is responding right now. Keen continuing collapsing, but because they drew so much pressure into that top lane, Apollo and Adrian get the turret down ball.
Right. See, right here, last game, this would be Impulse kiting Gravity in the top of a map. Apollo taking this uncontested. Now Gravity's in position to stop these things. Things are flowing much better for them. The gold is still very even, so they do have to make a big move here. Maybe our first 5v5 of what it'll be.
Yeah.
Dragon is just in a minute. This turret's not long for this world here in the top lane.
And to talk about what you guys were saying before, I mean, we talk about Impulse, we talk about Rush. He's going to play aggressive games. 80% of the time, that's my made-up number, it works out beautifully. We have games like Game 1. 20% of the time, it's an overreach. The team responds well, and they get a whole lot back for it. Gravity responding incredibly well in this game. And Rush's aggression is biting his team in the backside.
He showed respect there,
Yeah.
which is very rare to see. And the turret goes down.
Calculated.
St. Vicious used the Rek'Sai ultimate, and Rush said, maybe not. Maybe I shouldn't commit to this one, because he's now been caught out on a couple of occasions, and it's starting to fight back. This will be the question. We saw St. Vicious talking about how to shut down Rush. If his early ganks don't go just right,
I got to match him.
Yeah,
Yep.
you match him. And Saint has done the counter gank job this game onto Rush.
Absolutely. 20 onto Dragon. A good push here in the mid lane by Keen to add a little bit of pressure towards Xiao's turret. Apollo good and good clear. So both teams getting what they need here to give themselves the upper hand. What's going to be pretty much our first real 5v5. Doesn't look like it's going to be a teleport from Impact. He's on the walk down already. Answer could teleport, however.
Yeah, very early Sivir ult.
Yeah, Impulse trying really too hard to start fights that they can't actually start.
Well, they have a large amount of CDR onto Impact's board, which is good in these team fights. They also know that Tonsor has to teleport into this fight. It would be a very interesting battle. Impact is looking to start it from the flank.
Teleport comes in from behind the Dragon Pit. Impact's going to land the... No, he's going to miss the bind. Here comes the engage. Two-man knockup. First kill comes in. Second one comes in as well. Xiao pushed out. It's a 3-kill start to the fight. And St. Vicious won't even take enough damage to die. It's a 4-for-1.
Gravity fights back again. They countered Impulse's aggression right there. Impact missed his binding. The teleport came in after the fight had begun, and Gravity cleans up that fight.
15 minutes in, it just took them a little bit of time to calibrate what they needed. And they do clean up, fight the Dragon as well, and have tied it up at 2 turrets. Cop may take a third one down in the middle here as Team Impulse recuperates after that fight. Now we get to see how they coordinate themselves from being behind. Last game, they were far and ahead, train rolling down the tracks, and they didn't have any problems. Can they assess the troubles now?
So you have home guards? Whoa, that's unusual.
Oh! Look at his face. He's just like, yeah, all right, guys.
Wouldn't you know it?
He just timed Morg Flash. Like, he's like, all right.
Great
Morg
timing on
or
Cobb's flash right there. Knowing he was just trying to run up to him for a point-blank Morg Q.
Yeah. And Keen's starting to style as well. He's getting pretty big here. 4 kills, 3 assists. A lot of money on this Fizz.
Gonna be a frozen heart for him next. Let's take another look at this fight.
Yeah, so Keen is really huge right now on that Abyssal Scepter, and St. Vicious got a monstrous knock-up on top of the Rumble ult. As far as chaining your crowd control together, Gravity did that so well. Since Impact missed the binding, they had no chain with Leona. Both of these teams are heavily combo-oriented, and Gravity just did it much better that fight.
Yeah, it was really surprising. This is the first I've seen Impulse's bottom lane actually have a pretty lackluster game. They shoved a turret down, they did good things there, but we saw Apollo burn his ulti early, before the fight could even start. Adrian died before he could put Eclipse on himself to have the tank stats, and didn't even ult then at the very end of it because he died so darn fast. They picked the bottom lane here of Team Impulse for the utility, to make fights start on their terms. Neither of those guys were able to put that utility into use here, and even though Impact's got some gold and Xiao had gone almost unkilled this game and had some farm, just not enough to put the fights in.
So, Gravity squadding around here. They move together, power in numbers. We got Cop and Bunny Fufu in the mid lane. They don't want to get picked off. There's still a chance for Adrian and Rush to be taking people out immediately, and Xiao coming up with some follow-up damage. Definitely a chance that Tip can still start to wipe out these fights if they get the good engage from their end too. 17 minutes in on this one, 9-4 in kills. Still getting pretty bloody throughout this game. And it seems like the early aggression of Rush has been staved off by Saint's switch up and how he played the jungle. Gravity's working well off of that now.
definitely. The smiting of the Wisp definitely set up
Such
a
a
few
big
kills.
factor.
Oh, yeah.
And then also Hanser playing with much more respect for Russian Impact, and the team also going and backing them
That's a
up
good
with
point,
jungle.
too.
That's the big thing. Like, even though Hanser did die to that one gank, his team ended up getting 2 kills off him because everyone was going towards that pressure. And because Xiao had lost the mid lane to Fiss, thanks to the same vicious ganks, they were free to make those collapses. When you're a team like Impulse and you're playing such a pressure-heavy game, as soon as you have a lapse in the pressure, you no longer have the freedom to make the other aggressive plays. This time, when they tried to make those aggressive plays top lane, they could be collapsed on because they didn't have pressure.
There's so many things that actually come together here as, oh, like that.
LOL.
That come together as really fortunate or ingeniously planned circumstances. So we heard St. Vicious say, Rush picks a lane and camps it. Unsurprisingly, it's usually Impact's lane. They put Hanser, the anti-Impact player, in the lane with a defensive Wolf Spirit. That could have all been accidental and a nice convenience, or on purpose.
Strats. Or
Yeah.
just
Or, I mean,
strat.
last game that was in the bot lane, where they had their own defensive Wolf as well, right? Like, sometimes these things are accidents, sometimes they're ingenious and you never think of them before. It's one of the two for Gravity, but either way it worked out.
Indeed. Once again,
There's that wolf.
And there's Rush. No one's at all surprised anymore.
forced to go back. Very, very slow game compared to game 1 here for Team Impulse. Trying to figure out how they can get under the skin of Gravity, who's pretty much waiting for these objectives. Hanser still getting big, even though he was focused a little bit in lane. A very big impact on his equalizer last fight that kind of changed the fight around. So Impulse will be looking to organize for that as well. You always have to consider the first fight may look really bad, but the second fight, the team knows what they're looking for from both sides, and it could be anybody's.
Yeah, I mean, the game is within under 3,000 gold.
Right.
Which is a lead, but not the biggest lead ever that you couldn't possibly come back from this one. We've definitely seen bigger comebacks just this weekend. So the question is, Impulse, how well do you play from behind? And Gravity, how well do you play with the lead here? Especially considering you've got a ranged champion that can damage turrets, and his range is only 500 here.
Yeah, and I question the scaling of a Frozen Heart Abyssal Scepter Fizz. I think it's really strong right now, but I think 45 minutes of the game it's going to get much weaker. Whereas Xiao will only get stronger. How many people can Apollo dodge? 3.
Yep. Figured how long they would hunt him. Not too long. Because the push in mid lane going to get very far either here from Team Impulse. They slowed down as Cop trying to stop that middle turret from taking any damage here. It looks like he's going to fare quite well. No real pressure from Impulse. They're kind of just walking around, cleaning up the map.
Right, that's the thing is we talk about St. Vicious, and he gets first bloods a lot. His early ganks are very strong. He's very good at this. But all the Gravity advantages have been keying off of Impulse. They've been playing reactively, well reactively, but reactively. Now, Impulse have shown that they're happy to play it much more slowly now, waiting for Vlad to scale up, waiting for the team fights to come in later on. And you don't want to squander a 3,000 gold lead.
Foot off the gas pedal for a little while. For Impulse. They're probably just waiting on the dragons. But at this point, after the way the last dragon fight was, I don't know if they can test this one. They're still focusing on Impact's lane, although he seems to be doing all right on his own.
Yeah, I actually like this from Impulse. So they are knowingly seeding these dragons, and they're trying to get as much split push farm as possible. Maybe Gravity missteps and they stay too long in one of these side lanes. Maybe they allow a TP play and a team fight does come in, but Impact and the rest of Impulse playing for turret kills and getting as much pressure back and trading so that this 3,000 gold lead is squandered. Oh look, top lane 2-2 goes down for Dragon.
And they almost had the mid lane turret as well. That's creeping the gold lead closer and closer as they work towards completing some major items. It's on Gravity to try and take the offensive a little bit. Impulse has pivoted mid-game to being a little bit more defensive and conceding ground to Gravity. The question is, how quickly can Gravity pivot from a defensive team to an aggressive team?
Right, we just talked about Gravity and kind of the highlight for the past 5-6 minutes. They were winning fights, getting a few kills here, Saint being involved in a lot, but they didn't push turrets. They didn't push too much off it. Everything's still quite even, and Apollo, he gets a little bit a tricky shot on the boomerang there to take away from Saint's work. Very close on the vote, just like the game.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all the Twitter vote here, but you think about the strengths of these teams and the overall, and The way I measure that is usually the second half of their split here, where Gravity was 7-2 in the back half of the split. If you count game 1 here, the quarterfinals here, they're 8-2 in the last half. And Gravity, much worse record here. I don't know if they do know what to do if they can't just snowball and roll over people.
Not a whole bunch of wave clear now with that culling being down as well. You're going to have to get close to those minions and take a little bit of that Sivir damage if they do. It's going to be easier now that Tip can get to the turrets.
It is worth pointing out Gravity's wave clear is pretty bad. It is just the Lucian and like a Rumble ulti, which isn't exactly amazing. So
Yeah,
turn it around,
big
Impulse gets the
priority
lead.
damage.
Yeah, like once Impulse feels confident, I think they do play hyper aggressive. The gold, by the way, 500 apart now.
Yeah.
That lead's gone. Impulse mid-gamed a slow game and got a million more minion kills and tied the game up.
2 turrets as well.
Yeah.
Xiao pulling ahead in farm. Apollo working on his second item. He's got a pretty big deficit to cop there.
Yeah.
Until he shops. But as far as the overall game goes, until Dragon 3, the Dragon lead doesn't matter right now. And it's all about Impulse not being over-aggressive. This is Gravity fighting back, but there's multiple punches in a fight, and Impulse is ready to do something else here.
I mean, they have the biggest gloves in this game, certainly, for those punches. Rush made sure of that one. And you can see that sort of the way I think to easily measure pressure leads. You can look at gold, you can look at champion levels, but just look at the minimap and look where the minion waves are. We have very rarely seen these minion waves go in the northeast side of the map, meaning that Gravity is able to push them out. We've mostly seen Impact shoves top, Apollo shoves bottom, and they always manage to find a way to get out and never die for that kind of pushes. Mid lane got pushed in. Top actually as well. We're finally seeing Gravity start to push in, but maybe too little too late.
So a lot of wave clear on Impulse's side. Everyone can pretty much use 1 or 2 spells and clear a whole minion wave in all of their lanes.
Yeah, every single person gets
Vladimir,
something.
or Sivir.
Oh, hold on though. Dive into the back line. Haunter misses the equalizer, and Apollo says, great, I'm going to go in on that one.
I don't even know if Impact needed to be here, but he could get a little bit of help with the shield on him.
Flash Q, not going to be dodged. Zonia's is...
They're trying to rush Baron right now. I don't know if they're going to be able to kill in time. It's pretty early. 6,000
Oh, that's
health.
a lot of damage.
Here comes Xiao. That's going to be a big ult.
Debo Plague, he hits it on at least 3. I think it missed onto Keen there. They're going to be going back for the fight. Xiao and Adrian are both low here. Rush on the outside, not able to provide too much. Tags onto Bunny Fufu. Impact's here now, and we are going to finally get... No. Paulo, he's going to stay on the side. He did not want to enter in. Good choice.
Everybody calms down after that scuffle at the Baron Pit. Haunter the only death in all of that action, but that means the game is on again.
Looking for that 5v5 fight. Make both teams respect what was going to happen. And we see Gravity as well is in a mode where if they get that half second, they will try to squeeze that Baron out.
And I do like that. I do like Baron plays like this where maybe we had vision control. They've got to face check into it.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the wards were like right at that time. Unfortunately, I was watching the bottom lane, but we've seen so many times, like just in March, like in the last month essentially, so many of these like random 24-minute Barons. It got squishier a few patches ago, so that rushing it became a more viable strategy. This is like a really bad equalizer. Haunter expects Apollo to kite, but Apollo's kiting back because he knows Impact is already coming.
This is one of these things Alex talked about on the analyst desk, is why is Haunter trying to make these plays when he knows his team is nowhere near him for backup? Anything could happen that backfires here. Maybe Rush is there. Maybe there's a teleport that could be coming down. He's certainly not going to get teleport help because he's the teleporter. He's only putting him in situations there where he's trying to make a big play, but the counter play is so much easier.
I think that was a bait for Baron, though, to be honest. I think it was synchronized. You're right, it backfired.
They ran for Baron as they saw the teleport.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
That was a very messy Baron as well. I would, especially since he's got a history of making mistakes there. There's Keen.
This could be the ults they need to start locking down the fight. They're on their side of the map, so they can start pushing the waves as well, but they aren't really returning any damage. Impact and the rest of the team is only receiving right now, and Cop and Haunter are going to be the ones to deliver the first few blows.
Well, it's a 5v4 with a good equalizer. Apollo gets a turret for essentially 2 kills paid by his team. What's the choice now? You could
Now
try to rush Baron.
Baron bait.
Oh boy.
This is the Baron bait. Rush should not have been checking that brush. Baron is as good as gone. Gravity just needs to send someone back to stop Apollo. Haunter should probably be there. There he is.
He is. He home guards in. He's not a pony,
Great
but you know what?
play.
He's a mechanized menace. He's going to buy some time. And the 4v0 on Baron will let Gravity get a lot back in. What a good team fight. And the split pushing Sivir. A big detriment there for Team Impulse. Once again, we're seeing the bottom lane I like them so much beating the split, but in game 2, they have made, I feel like, a number of mistakes.
Early wards there before that Baron gave them the patience to know they could wait for Rush as well, making things a little bit easier for themselves. You look like you're so much more in the lead when you have things in place, right? It's like, wow, that looks like it's easy for them now. And Gravity, they take about a 1.5 thousand gold lead. Still anybody's game, but those were some nice moves.
It's just going to get better and better for these guys now, though. They've got another 2 minutes to use Baron buff, 2.5 actually, to knock down turrets. Gravity have only taken the outer shell. There's so much gold waiting to be picked up off these tier 2 turrets. They're worth like 800 gold apiece. They just got Dragon 3. They can even rotate faster now with the Team Impulse. There's so much gold waiting to be grabbed right now. This Gravity lead should shoot up, in my mind, to 5K if they do it right.
Yep.
Well, there's definitely the want there from the team. The man himself, we heard from the feature before, Cop 304. He's been so close to making it to Worlds time and time again. Hopefully this can be the time that the team makes it. Just on the cusp of that victory. One game to Impulse here is the driving force for Gravity to come back strong in this one. And that 2K gold lead, like you said, Freak, very close to being able to skyrocket. We have the Triforce finish now over onto Keen as well, as he keeps that composition of items going.
I'm actually surprised he goes Triforce.
Yeah.
Like, at this point, I'd almost rather see a Lich Bane because he's got so much Magic Pen. The Lich Bane proc is magic, the Trinity Force proc is physical. People have more armor than magic resist in general League of Legends.
Yeah, he's doing the catch-all build. Just build a bunch of individually good items and hope that together they work. I mean, Keen is... Fizz itself is somewhat of a hybridized champion on this patch. Benefits from auto attacks and attack speed, has some magic damage.
Right.
Magic Pen is good. We see Blade of the Ruin King on him a lot of the times. Like, it's his choice. That's why it doesn't scale, because there's not one proper build you can do on Fizz that makes him a hyper-scaling champion, which is something that I worry about with Gravity's overall team composition. Is Fizz does not scale multiplicatively like a lot of the other champions do in build.
Yeah.
They need to make use of this Baron buff right now.
Well, thankfully, Cop does. And Cop's got 3 big items. The next big one's not too far away as well. Like, the fact that he's actually managed to get some kills, stay deathless, and have the highest farm in the game means that mantle can switch from Keen to Cop. We know he's up for the task. Cop normally carries most of the weight for his team anyway. It's just a matter of this push now with only 40 seconds left on Baron to actually turn into anything. All Gravity's done is gotten ward control up for a Dragon and Bear that aren't respawning for a long time. This turret's taking almost no damage whatsoever. The wave clear of Team Impulse, you can see, keeping everything safe.
Saw a little bit of this yesterday. I was going to call it a 1-3-1, but Saints actually up top here with Haunser. They're trying to spread Impulse thin. Keen, a few more shots. Bing, bang, boom! Wait, Hemo Plague.
Doesn't do it. That's not how it works.
Today, Keen learned.
Now
For
Impulse
the top
tries to
lane.
fight.
All right, great equalizer onto almost everybody. The dive comes back in. Haunser forced to Zhonya's away, and St. Vicious, oh my god, he gets out. Impact does the same with his own Zhonya's, and now Haunser forced to run away. That's a fight that Team Impulse is going to win.
That was 2 flashes to death as well, so small windows for Gravity to fight now in an Impulse. A little window push.
It's interesting, Xiao Xiao is trying to become that split-pushing menace on Vladimir, but Keen is equalizing him for the most part. If Keen had done that dive a little bit cleaner, that could have led to some large advantages for Gravity, but because he traded the deaths, couldn't get turret pressure, Impulse knew the fight was safe with no one having to recall, therefore could collapse down onto Gravity.
Well, Gravity's still confident, though.
We have here.
Rush. Wow, nice. He's like, hey, there's a Rek'Sai around here. You should back up. No kill does come through. Gravity unable to turn any push lead out of the Baron buff. In fact, they go minus a kill.
Apollo clearing out mid lane, looking at some inventories. Actually, we'll check this fight out one more time before we do that.
Yeah, so not the best ultimate from Keen at the start. Pretty much clicked that after the Zhonya's was down and did not put it on top of the Zhonya's, point blank. At that point, though, because Xiao Xiao was able to ult right afterwards, that gets done. And then you can see the reaction is immediate from Tip.
Oh, wow.
If it was not for such a great equalizer by Haunser, this fight would have been totally wrecked. Saint gets out with a sliver of health thanks to Bunny Fufu's Janna ult, and Impact doesn't get the greatest Morgult ult either. This game is still very close, as shown by that exchange.
And it's 2,000 gold lead. I mean, Gravity still do have the most money in this game. They own 3 Dragons to 1. They've still got, I almost considered it an advantage. Turrets available for the taking, since we're not, I think, going to see inhibs go down for a while anyway. Like, almost easier to acquire objectives matters a little bit for these guys. And we'll see if that actually happens here for Gravity. They certainly managed to stabilize their mid game. I mean, it was starting to slide really hard towards Impulse, and then a couple of good plays later, Gravity looked pretty nice.
I can't see him being on the map for too much longer at the moment. They got 2,000 gold on a few people. We do see that Tiamat now coming out for St. Vicious for a bit more damage.
Oh.
He wants to be able to shred some people on the Rek'Sai ability.
Is this Gravity looking to push even harder on the split push game? I mean, this makes it a good split push build for Saint. If Keen is falling off, they put the mantle on someone else. But we've seen that Impulse are happy to play the split push game back.
Yeah.
Maybe they can split Xiao Wei Xiao off, right? If Xiao Wei Xiao has to defend St. Vicious, Saint is buying Magic Resist next. Merc Tread's going for a Cowl. And then it can make a Rek'Sai ult play to make a 5v4 happen. Go for the hard engage.
Honestly, some of it could just be the fact that Impulse is pushing lanes so hard, he wants Tiamat to clear them.
Yeah.
Like, it could be as simple
on the
as that.
defensive thing.
Also, Freak, you know better than anyone on a ranked team with Zyrene who loves to run Ravenous Hydra Rek'Sai all the time.
Yes, he does.
That it is a thing you can do as long as you have a little bit more gold income, oftentimes for that split push and wave clear, since he can teleport into his tunnels afterwards. It's not a bad thing, it's just uncommon in pro play because Rek'Sai's generally put everything in tankiness.
No, absolutely. It does give him really good potential for damage. He can actually duel Apollo most of the time in this game and likely win it. But the problem is there's so much AoE magic damage. Being tanky on a melee champion is important. He'll just take damage from Impact and Xiao Wei Xiao whether he wants to or not. And it will always be a concern here. Impulse, they are the first ones up the Dragon. This time around, it's actually Gravity who splits and takes the top lane out of turret down. Gold goes towards Gravity. Impulse get a not very useful number 2 Dragon.
Right, but they deny the threat of 5 dragons. They have to fight here, though, if they want to get something back. Impulse.
Ooh, that was Gale.
Ooh, Sivaralt burned
top
again,
lane.
and they're down in pressure. They're trying to play catch-up that they're paying for that dragon with.
Yep.
Actually pretty cute. Gravity gonna get a lot of damage on this turret, but Impulse are right here to defend. They're really staying for it. Goes down to 1/4, and back they go.
So they pay for that dragon with 2 turrets?
2.7 turrets, kind
Yeah,
of.
that's a lot of turrets. Well, the one will regen, which is nice.
Very slowly, but you're right.
And they've lost pressure. That's the main thing.
Same move as
Another
before.
Baron bait.
No,
Rush.
deja vu!
Look out!
Rush, no! He knew that time. He tried to get out. The Banshee's Veil is going to help him a little bit, and he has completely exited stage left on this one. Gravity's actually still trying to tunnel into this fight, but Impulse has not got the chance to re-engage, so Gravity's still okay.
Still no vision control in that area, though. Rush no longer has Banshee Veil, no longer has Flash. You can only check blindly so many times before you die. They have to do it clean next time. Black Shield on a tank, much cleaner.
Much cleaner, no knockups available. They go for Rush instead, and then gets
No flash.
blow that poor fool up. The Leona ult only hits St. Vicious, and
One too
Gravity
many.
can chase this down. Equalizer is available right here. You can slow the entire team down. He puts it in. Impact tries to save himself, which means Apollo is available, but Keen can't survive the counter engage, and a nice stun comes out from Impact. Pops the Zonias, but St. Vicious still on the hunt. A killing spree for himself. Unstoppable for Cobb. They've knocked down 3 members of Team Impulse.
Could be Baron again for Gravity at this point. Everyone that is still alive on Impulse has to go back to basic. Gravity still with plenty of damage to spare.
Be very surprising to see Impulse come back with the low numbers on their side. Now Gravity just getting way too big. The Avalanche is out of control right now. You cannot keep Gravity down. Baron going over to them at 36 minutes on the clock. Keen won't be getting that for himself, but the team, they're playing real well right now, and he's not going to need it.
Overall, a big risk by Gravity actually to give up a dragon that would have put them 1 dragon away from 5, but they made it work. They traded that dragon for so much vision control around the Baron pit that the eventuality of those events led to them getting the right catch. They burned Rush's flash in 1 engage, and then Rush was trying to flank for Adrian, but he ends up getting flanked himself by the end of that fight. And the result of it all is Gravity gets Baron number 2, and now maybe can use that as one of their endgame win conditions.
Yeah, it seems like they did a great job of controlling all the wards on the top side of the map, and they traded those 2 turrets and a bunch of vision control for that Dragon number 2 for Impulse, which has no combat relevance unless you're sieging. And now Gravity can look pretty happy. And speaking of sieging, Banner of Command, as Riv points out to me, here on Bunny Fufu. And, you know, Impulse's wave clear is mostly magic damage. So, I mean, Apollo has to be the one to react to that.
Hopefully a good Sivir Boomerang to knock that one down, or they'll be watching their turrets fall from quite long range. Looks like top lane may get a little bit of love out of that. Now are we going to get the Banner Command on that minion? Bunny Fufu is in place.
Yep, there it is.
And he has locked it down.
2 cannons, one of them is bannered right now. So it's basically forcing Impulse into a fight.
And Gravity choose the 4-1, by the way. Fizz still going to push mid lane against Xiao Wei Xiao. It's good to keep the Vlad out of this fight. And this turret has no chance of staying alive. Inhibitor number 1 goes down at 37-32. And Gravity still pushing in for the inhibitor itself. Team Impulse not looking like they want to contest this.
They can just let the banner minion do it, but they're not even stopping Cop.
Nicely done, Team Gravity. Into the base they go, and the mid game is starting to look pretty good. You know, it's exactly what LS says. He says, look, our early game is a bit rough, our mid game's a bit rough, but 30 minutes in, it's like I'm really confident in my players. We hit 30 minutes, and Gravity have actually, around the map, outplayed Team Impulse. They just had to get there.
It really seems like you need to get a really steady lead against Gravity to be able to hold them down and also make no mistakes. Gravity really capitalized on a lot of good things this game, kept themselves on top. St. Vicious playing that Wisp perfectly, seeing the aggressive Brutalizer coming out of Rush early to keep him out and underfarmed, and not underfarmed, but underpowered after trying to get into the jungle and take him down. And Gravity's been working off it all game. Now to this bottom second tier turret, one of the final ones standing outside of the base of Impulse.
This is risky though. Gravity sent only 2 guys top, and here comes the re-engage. Bunny people gonna get exploded for that one. Cop gets away, thankfully for him. But that's the risk of running a big split push team like that when Vi exists. You can start fights out of nowhere.
I think the overall gain as well for Gravity, though, was pretty huge. The game is still progressing later and later, though, and Gravity, honestly, is still on somewhat of a timer. They only broke 1 inhibitor. They generally need to break 2. That is wave clearable by Sivir. You hate to say it, but they're not out of the woods yet. They're still down 1-0 in this series. This is a much longer game. This is the Gravity style of winning, but it's a chore to close out Team Impulse here. Xiao is getting larger and larger, now has his Void Staff completed. They have Void Staffs on both of their AP carries. The gold, percentage-wise, despite being a 6,000 gold differential, is still pretty close.
10%.
A lot of it really just has to do around Cop and whether or not he can stay safe, and Haunter and where his equalizers fall.
Well, Haunter's got plenty of items there. Double Abyssal, actually I don't like this Abyssal on
Both sides.
the Rumble personally, but he's got a lot of ability power and a lot of magic pen all the same.
Look in that range.
Yeah, the damage profile is pretty big. Cop will be getting a Scimitar last item, so he's going to be able to stay slightly ahead of Apollo damage output-wise. And the thing is, I do want to know what Xiao can do in fights. One of the complaints on Vlad is, can he stick in there, right? Needs mobility. He's got a Several, he's got Ghost. There is a Janna to keep him out. There is maybe an Equalizer to keep him out. If Xiao can't routinely damage the important damage dealers, maybe that Vlad has little impact even though he does scale well as a champion.
It's true.
See how the split push continues now. Banner of Command used in the bottom wave, with Cop being in the middle and St. Vicious up on the top side. Looking, he does have a tunnel to Void Rush to towards that bottom, so not too far away from the team. He can be the guy who teleports now, so that Hydra's coming into play big for the split push.
I like it. I really do like the double split push. It's still risky against a hard engaged Vi Leona and Sivir. If you miss position on Gravity, you just die. But it allows Haunter and Saint to split, teleport back to the team.
And Impulse doesn't really have someone who can deal with St. Vicious' Rek'Sai at the moment. Maybe they could send their AD carry, but then they lose the pressure on the other side.
True that.
To clear that Banner of Command minion.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they want to sync him up, but you're right.
So tough.
I mean, Rek'Sai can't siege herself. She can clear waves. Cop can siege, though.
She can clear exposed inhibitors.
Yes, she can.
Ooh. Oh.
Wow, Xiao!
It's for lunch.
Can't fight Saint. You said there was no one to fight it.
That's huge trouble there. Gravity might be breaking open the base here. They know Xiao's gone. This is not a fight. Impulse wants to take.
Solar Flare goes down. A Zanya's Soul Shackle does not connect with many members of Gravity. Impulse is inside their base, but Cop, he's going full force forward. He's going to get one down. That's going to be Adrian falling. Cop somehow still alive. Gets that Quicksilver sash on for safety, and he starts to return fire once more with Keen also inside the base, taking down Impact, putting down the finalizing touches onto Impulse here. Xiao pulls out, but he will go down in the end. That's going to be Keen picking up another one for himself as he dodges out on the Nexus turrets.
There it is, the damage from St. Vicious, taking Xiao down before that fight, and then the presence of Cop in these team fights, sticking safe and dealing maximum damage, may end up this game. Rush and Apollo, the only defenders against 5.
25 seconds left until the first guy respawns, and they're down to only one Nexus turret left. The TP comes in for Haunter, just to make it a little bit easier for these guys, and in they go. Apollo losing health, Rush the same. This Vi will fall, and open is the Nexus. It took 42.5 minutes, but Gravity have tied up the series 1-1.
we have ourselves a series. It seemed a little bit confusing in picks and bans to us, all the swappable lanes, the fact that they banned the Yasuo despite it not being picked in the previous game. But all is well that ends well, because they denied the Lee Sin. Rush's Vi was countered by good map control from Gravity. Nice collapses onto him. Now it's best of 3.
It is down to a best of 3, and we've seen now Keen bring out different champions each game. That was lauded as one of the big factors here for Gravity, that he can bring out whatever he wants. He can do something crazy. And
so he's no longer allowed to play Orianna or Fizz. Those are gone.
He needs to go next. Well, he's not allowed to play Urgot either. Those get banned every single time. But St. Vicious, twice in a row now, gets first blood. This time it got onto Keen. He used that first blood quite well. Keen had a really good performance throughout the mid game. It created a lot of pressure. Rush did things that Rush does. Rush tried to dive lanes. He tried to dive and get kills for impact over and over and over again. And Gravity this time responded. They realized it was happening. They respected it. They got the Wolf Spirits. They got the wards. And they punished it. That was the big thing. Gravity punished the way they know Impulse plays. And they got a good mid-game lead out of it.
Strong smiting by Saint in the early game for the Wisp. Plus one to that. It was big because so confused about the Brutalizer onto Vi, but it just said, I want to fight, I want to find you. And then into Skirmishers as well, it says, I want to fight, I want to find you. And when you're always caught out, that gives Gravity the upper hand. They have all the knowledge that they need. Right now, we're going to send it over to Dash and company to walk us through Gravity's series tying win.
Thank you, Riv. 1-1 in the series now. Looks like it could be an exciting day, maybe extending to 5 games. What I want to touch on immediately here is the Fizz-Vlad matchup in the mid lane and how it so quickly tilted in Keen's favor.
Right, so Keen, I think he played this type of Fizz once in LCS, and they won with that. It's like some sort of like Fizz from hell. He goes like tank items, and you think he's really squishy, but he's not because he has like 200 armor and MR, so you try and kill him, but you can't, and he just like baits your team into dying, which happened a few times this game.
And so what's the response there by Vladimir? We had a lot of discussion about the build path that Xiao Weizhao chose to go with, going only into the Hex Tech, not finishing the Will of the Ancients very early, and then transferring into that Abyssal, which slowed down his progression into CDR. It didn't seem very effective.
Well, I think that is not the most effective Vladimir build. I'm not even sure what runes he's going for. I think he's going for like AP per level and things like that. I think in the matchup against Fizz, he could have gone for Emirates, and it could have helped him in lane. And overall, I think if he went for like the usual Will of the Ancients path, even if Fizz like jumps on you and gets like almost all your HP, you can always go to race and just regen all in like a couple of seconds. So it's not that big of a deal. And then Fizz, he opts for the Abyssal, so he can go all in like 2-3 times, and then he gets out of mana. So until you just die to his all in, what happened in lane, I think, because Saint was there, you're pretty fine. And if you got the like more CDR, your pool is back faster, so you're less vulnerable to ganks. And I think Xiao Weizhao, he underestimated Saint ganks a lot and just like dying there a couple of times, and Keen snowballed pretty hard out of that.
I have to say, I think there was a better adjustment when it comes to the ganks that Saint was applying, the pressure rather that he was applying to the map. We saw a lack of pressure after that first kill in the first game. This time around, visiting that mid lane, making sure he put Fizz in a position to carry through the late game.
Right, so Hanser played a bit more reserved this game. He lost his flash early, and that's just because he was playing like super cautious. He didn't need to use flash to get out, but you know, he did just to make sure. So it's good that Gravity recognized that, you know, told Hanser, play back a bit. And yeah, Saint focused mid lane this time. Fizz, a champion that can snowball, roam around the map.
And we saw that manifest a bit in our replay. We're going to pull that up. We're going about 14 minutes into the game down to the Dragon River. This ends up being a 4-1 for Gravity. Alex, if you could walk me through this fight.
So this fight starts when like Sivir ult is down, and then Keen just jumps in YOLO, and everyone thinks like it's Fizz, we need to kill him. He dodges the rush Q, and then the beautiful equalizer just lands on the whole team, and they basically trying to kill Fizz. There is like super tanky, and the Rumble and Lucian just clean up and kill their whole team.
Yeah, there's this element, like you were talking about, Pobelter, where there's this really tanky Fizz, and but he doesn't appear that way. At first glance, you're like, oh, 1,200 health or something like that. Let's just kill him. He's a threat. And he's got 4 kills. So the initial idea is we have to take care of him. But he draws so much threat and pressure from the enemy team that when that equalizer comes across, you know, it catches them off guard. And it kind of pointed to Gravity playing a lot of these fights out properly and Impulse playing a little bit more reactively, right? They were going in just at the drop of a hat without necessarily thinking through the entire team fight.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is they've never played against Tank Fizz mid before. I think most people can say that they've never played against Tank Fizz mid before, so it's kind of difficult. You need to adapt to it, and it's really unorthodox. Like, sometimes he just seems super tanky and you can't kill him, and you're like, well, this is broken. Tank Fizz is broken. And then other times he just doesn't do anything. So it's just really an awkward champion to play against.
Right.
So I really think that in this game, like, Gravity vision control was much better, and like every fight was just like Gravity doing like all the preparations and going for the fight, and then Team Impulse are trying to react to it, and usually it was reaction like Sivir ulting like super preemptively and then there is no fight, and then after the Sivir ult is down, the fight goes on, and the position of Team Impulse is pretty bad for the fight. Like, you really want Morgana to be somewhere from the flank or just like tipping or flashing into 5 people, and that just doesn't happen. Morgana is just somewhere behind, like doing nothing in the fight, so you don't have like good ultimate or anything. And then like the same way as like you want both like Morgana and Vladimir be speed up by the Sivir ultimate to just like go in, Morgana ults 5 people, Vladimir ults 5 people, you get the awesome like damage and fight, but this doesn't happen this game.
Let's talk a little bit more about vision control. As you mentioned, it was definitely in Gravity's favor this game. Something that's interesting is the fact that both Impact and Xiao Zhao never upgraded their trinkets. They both had the level 1 yellow trinkets, whereas on the side of Gravity, we had upgraded trinkets across the board, except for except for Keen in the mid lane, but he had swapped to a sweeper. So Alex, when you talk about the vision game, what do you believe is the optimal setup in terms of trinkets for a team going into the late game?
So I think that in the late game you need 2 sweepers 100%. Like, no matter on who, like mid laner or even top laner, it doesn't matter. Just like you need 2 sweepers because you need to sweep out those wards that, like, of course you can buy the pings, but you still like need to check out the vision in crucial spots, and 1 sweeper is not enough for that. And I think that if Impact like upgraded his trinket really early in the game, with the amount of pressure he was causing the top lane, he could have just warded like entire enemy jungle, and then they would have much more information about like their rotations, and they could have either like pressure top laner or at least know the place where Saint Vicious is at. And Saint Vicious didn't have the sweeper, he got the trinket ward, so basically like only King got the sweeper, and Fizz won't go to clean those wards, so those wards would have stayed there and they would have a lot of information from that. He didn't do that, and like I think that like that caused a lot of like vision advantage towards Gravity with the way how they upgraded their trinkets and how they were playing.
Yeah, absolutely. Gravity showing a bit of their team fight prowess there in that game. Keep it tuned right here for Game 3 of our quarterfinal battle between Gravity and Team Impulse. We'll be right back.
Is that X-Special?
Huh?
X-Special.
Yeah, X-Special. And
Right?
Peter.
And Peter, right?
Yeah.
And the girl.
What?
No, he's going to miss the bind. Here comes the engaged 2-man knockup. First kill comes in. Second one comes in as well. Xiao pushed out. It's a 3-kill start to the fight.
I think it missed onto Keen there. They're going to be going back for the fight. Xiao and Adrian are both low here. Rush on the outside, not able to provide too much.
Vi's dead. Come, get him.
I'm moving through.
Leona?
Yeah.
Go
collapse. Train collapse. I'm going in.
6.
I'm going in.
Blind.
Kill blind.
I'm blind.
Saber.
This is not a fight Impulse wants to take.
Solar Flare goes down. A Zanya's Soul Shackle does not connect with many members of Gravity.
Gravity have tied up the series 1-1.